All right, it's morning at NTV. Friday's edition always has an element of arts and culture. Focal point for our Kickstarter this morning is the connection between music and religion, the desire for music and its role in religion, as well as the financial planning for the arts industry. Those are going to be our focal points this Friday as we close up the month of May the 31st. I am Priscilla, Regina, Naloga, and you. Welcome to our Kickstart. Now, to give you a backbone of this conversation, as I'm excited about my guests, because this time around they're quite a unique team that I have on table with me this morning. But looking at time memorial, you do have religious ceremonies and worshiping having had its involvement with music, and it's been evidenced across different traditions. If you remember school days, especially if you went to a traditional school, there was MDD, music, dance and drama, and it always focused a lot on music and dance for the traditions that we came through. So if you were in Uganda, there was Uganda's traditional dances, there was the Westerners, there was the Northerners, the Southerners, and you had to learn all of those. But in a way, you got to appreciate your fellow students and where they came from and how beautiful their own cultures were in their own way. So the relationship between music and religion can be found across many different religions, such as Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, among others. In fact, religion has undergone a significant change since its foundations. Now, the associated musical traditions are also emblematic of the diverse music instruments from Indonesia that are used in the Hindu meditative music. For the Christians, they also do have music incorporated into the elements of worshipping, but also you do have so many genres that have come up through the course of time. And so when you look at religious traditions, they are divergent musical practices from different religions across the world. Now, despite this diversity, you'll be shocked to know that musical practices have become a more indispensable component of religion and have great value in people's religious lives. These days, they call it an experience. Someone next to me understands what that is. But what makes music so important in religion is a question that we'll have an answer to perhaps at the end of this discussion. What purpose does music serve in religion is another question that we'll give to my panelists. And of course, to give perspective to all of this building up to Uganda Martyrs Day, we are having very awesome people that have experience, and they are at the forefront of the music industry as far as the Republic of Uganda is concerned. To my immediate left, I do have Coopy Bly, who is a gospel artist and one that I've had a personal relation with from when he started. And his music was one that traversed, through the youth at that time, because it was touching elements that were very, very important to youth, such as, sexual morality. And then we also do have next to him Phina Masanyalaze. She is the Vice Chairperson, Board of Trustees. This is with the Uganda National Cultural Center. And of course, next to her, we do have the mighty Herbert Muyomba, Music Director, Celestial Chorale, Uganda, who is also going to give us his experience. But before we get into the deep of the conversations, allow me to give salutations to my guests, and I want them to answer what is their most fond memory of Uganda Martyrs Day as they greet our audience, starting with Coopy Bly.
Thanks for having us here. So honored. Uganda Martyrs Day, I think for any kid, you go through stages. When you're a kid, of course, you get excited at the big numbers, huge numbers. Sometimes I remember we used to go back then at schools. So it was a good holiday trip for the schools. And then the older you grow, you start getting excited for whatever entertainment you will see there, or any new feature that will be happening. So I think it's one of the most celebrated days in Uganda for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing that, as a believer, you really come to appreciate how deep our society is so connected to faith. Yeah. I think that shows you how huge it is in the country. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Phina carries with her faith in her chest. Yes, let's talk about that and your most fun experience through your faith.
as a child brought up in a Catholic family, we respect and we adore this day, the Uganda Martyrs Day. What I remember about it, and we still do it, just that right now, Mommy can't can't just take me just like that. But we used to prepare. We used to wake up very early in the morning at 4. We cook our food. We used not to eat the vendors' food. We cook our food, we pack, and then we go. We go into the taxi. It takes us, during Martyrs Day, a lot of people are there. But then my mom used to get me by the hand, another brother by the hand, and we could reach there, even if you reach when you are from up. But have you reached there? But I'm very, very humbled that this time I live in the village of the Uganda Martyrs, and that is where I pray from. I respect them, and I thank my parents for bringing me up as a Catholic, because it has really, really helped me as a believer. In this world of the creative sector, you have to be a believer. You have to be with some religion to keep some discipline and to have some sanity.
Okay. All right. That's very true, because most recently the government is wanting to partner with religious leaders to bring back morality into the communities. Herbert, you're one who's also interacted with Uganda Martyrs Day in a special, unique way.
Yeah, what I can say about the Uganda Martyrs Day, I have many memories about that day since childhood. What I can first say is that the first time I came to Kampala, from Masaka to Kampala, it was the Martyrs Day.
Really? You trekked?
Yeah, in primary. No, not walking.
Right.
We came on a truck, these lorry trucks, and we were packed like nothing. So we came to Namugongo. In fact, when we reached, we did not pray. We were too tired because getting excited.
The excitement.
You get excited, you are coming to Kampala for the first time, you are going to a congregation of many people. I'm a Catholic. Yeah. But what I also remember is that on that day, I got lost between Chaliwajar and Namugongo while trying to locate where the truck was. So it was really some awesome experience. But as time went on, I think I got initiation of the Uganda Martyrs. I started directing choirs. I think I first directed a choir while I was in first year in Makerere, and it was really nice. Getting into cultures of other people, and years have been evolving up to now. So I've been directing choirs more than 7 times now.
Wow.
7 times now. Okay. So I have an experience of the Uganda Martyrs.
Tell us about that. Let's start from there, from your side, where you've been having direct, engagement with the preparations for Uganda Martyrs. Just this year, they've had to call on choirs from different parts to come and participate in a competition so that they can pick out the 400 that are going to produce beautiful music on the special day.
Yeah, what I can say about it is a thing of culture. It is a thing of bringing out culture. Let me speak on the Catholic, because I've always been with the Catholics. Now, for example, this year it is Nebi. They are going to bring out their Arul culture.
Oh, really?
You are going to see them doing their dances, their instrumentations, their dress code. It brings out that kind of cultural heritage. Yeah. So last year it was Busoga. You saw how they did it. The other year it was Toro. They were the Batoro. They did it very well. So people bring out their culture, and they feel that when they are given that opportunity to sing, they have to bring out how they behave, how they walk, how they dress. It puts them to the limelight, because what I know, by now every station is showing Uganda Martyrs. Every station is showing the people how they are moving. And by the way, years before they did not like walking, but as years came evolving, you've seen people moving, with that kind of faith. You hear someone has been trekking for more than 500 kilometers to come and see, But for us who stay around Namugongo, we see everything.
You're getting into taxis,
everything as a new way. So all I can say, if a diocese or a group of people is given a chance to lead those celebrations, what they do is to bring out their culture. Yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. Phina, many say Martyrs Day is actually made up of choirs and music and, you know, worship and also the culture that he's talking about. They are given the opportunity to present their faith through the lenses of their culture. How colorfully important is this element to, for example, Martyrs Day?
To the Martyrs Day through
celebrations.
Celebrations.
Yeah.
Through music?
Yeah, through music.
First of all, music is a communicator. Music is food to the soul. There is a way music brings back the memories. There is a way you feel as if you were there. There is a way you feel, me, whenever I go there and I feel that the Uganda Martyrs, you feel the way the choir sings, the way they bring it up. You feel the presence of them. You get the faith. By the way, Uganda Martyrs bring back the faith. And you know what? When you happen to go to church with faith, you get healed. There is a Uganda Martyr who was a musician. Whenever I go to Namugongo, I have to go there and pray for musicians and pray for myself as a musician, as a leader in the
Who's the martyr that was the musician?
In the creative sector.
Dennis Sebugwao.
Dennis Sebugwao. He was a musician. So I see my prayers are going to be answered when I happen to go there. So music is a very, very good aspect when it comes to communicating what happened. It brings back the memories. When they sing about the Mukajanga, we didn't see them, but when they happen to sing, you're like, you sing them. But I don't know, it was a two where they brutally murdered them, but it is... the aftermath was good. So it brings back the faith to us as the nationals, as the world. So the world should celebrate the Uganda Martyrs. And the music is very wow. I'm very excited about Nebina. I love they have a special and a unique...
A special sound.
They have special sounds. I like it. I have to be there to feel it. Actually, I've been checking on them. I'm like, at night when they are doing rehearsals, I check. There is a way they prepare their music, their work. So music is food to the soul, and music tells the stories.
Okay. Speaking of storytelling, Coopy Bly, you're one who is fond of storytelling through your music. And of course, through the centuries of time, you get to see that most especially religious music has played a very pivotal role in morality and society's uprightness. And so it's been found that music and religion develops a special meaning. It as Phina has said, it gives you a special in touch with your inner person to be able to then do the right thing, uplifts your faith into something and to the healing that she mentioned about, amongst other things. Could you talk to us about that from your perspective and your experience?
Well, I would like to agree with Phina that music speaks to the soul, and I think that's the greatest power of music, that it cuts boundaries, like it goes to, you see, as humans we are very protective. We like to put on a demeanor depending on where we are or how we want to be perceived, and music has a power to cut through that. When you listen to it, when you're going through something, even when you want to disagree with the music, it will cut through to the soul and it will reveal your true self. And I think that's the power that music really has, and why it's very vital in the community, more so when it goes two way. When I was growing up, my mom told me that you need to know that music has the biggest challenges, mainly because the devil himself was a musician. So that's why I remember she, and this has helped me throughout my career. She said, that's why you see, when anything is to be promoted worldwide, it usually starts with musicians or with music. They have to use the music too. And so that showed us the power of it. And to me, as a Christian artist, it shaped me to be very cautious of the content I put out there, the kind of music I sing, And as a Christian, you know, they say the word of God is a double-edged sword. So sometimes I put out music there that people may think I'm trying to address an issue out there. Kumbe, I'm addressing myself. It is chewing you as it is cutting you yourself.
What was being addressed in you.
And that's the beauty I love about music. And that's how powerful it should be for whatever community to look at music with that particular eye, with that particular lens, to see how serious it is. That if we just put out whatever type of vibe we want, and you know, that will go out there, but it will create a lot of, anyway, this will go so deep into it. You will see that at any source of any change, any revolution in the world, music has always been at the top of it. Be it wars, be it innovating something new, there is always a musical background to it. Like, music is so embedded in the society and the change that goes on in the world that people have to be very careful. The artists putting out the music have to be very careful at what they put out, but also the people that are consuming the music have to be very careful at the music, at the music they listen to, because like I said, it goes beyond your control, that it cuts deep inside you. It will bring out repercussions sometimes later that you didn't even realize. Kumbe, it started working in you when you were listening to it. So it's, yeah.
Okay, that's very true. But I want you to speak from a personal experience. I think one of your earliest songs, Mpulira and Serera, was one that young people resonated with, because it talked about, man, when I'm in a tight spot of, you know, wanting to listen to my body and its sexual desires, Mbera Mpuliranga and Serera, you know, somehow I need to realign myself. So that, among other songs, talk to us about, you know, those particular jams that you've had that have presented so much testimony around them in transforming people's lives.
Yeah. So as an artist, when you're doing music, as an artist, you want to speak to a certain audience that you are addressing in that particular song. And sometimes, unfortunately, now that music is a career, people need to earn from it. So sometimes you start considering, will this bring me some money? Will people love this so they pay for it? Or as a Christian artist, that's where you have to get to that crossroads, where probably the message you're putting out, because you are now like preaching. Sometimes you're going to be addressing vices that people are not very big fans of such music. They don't want to listen to that. And so you are like, if I put out this kind of music, I may not get this type of money I want to get from the music. But as a Christian, then your Christianity overrides that, and your morality overrides your desire for the money, your desire for the earning, to what you are actually, the impact you're actually making. So when I was at campus, when I just joined campus, Nyweza was one of my first breakthrough songs. And I was actually shocked at how well it was received, mainly because I thought it would be rejected. But I got to realize that while I was singing about probably challenges I was going through, it resonated with so many other people, because definitely they were going through the same challenges. So I was happy that I was brave enough to, you know, go with what my morality was telling me to sing, and not to just please the crowd. And it actually ended up resonating with people.
Okay, yeah. All right. Phina, you sit in a very tough position, because when we see music having this much power, there's also the flip side. As Coopy put it, it's a double-edged sword. If you use it for good, it's going to bring good. But also, if you present it as bad, it's going to have the same impact, negative impact. We have a lot of musicians that are cropping up today with not so positive music, and even far worse, not so positive videos that they're putting out there. As one who's a lead at the Cultural Center, how are you protecting society in the presence of such?
Actually, one of our objectives is to create a regulatory body. We should have a sieve because whenever a musician sings, whenever someone sings vulgar music or any type of music which doesn't represent the country, which it doesn't represent humanity, it is us. Actually, it is the creative sector. Music contributes much when it comes to the mindset of the people. So as the National Center, we are looking forward to creating a body which can regulate. We have to put a limit. What are we singing? That is why we need to strengthen our structures. We need artists to realize that we have leadership. We need them to realize that we are human. If you're singing, you're not doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for money. Okay, you will get money in the coming 3 months. What happens next? You have a family, and this brings back to the background. You see how this artist is expressing himself. His background has really prepared him for the nation. It has prepared him for the life. But when it comes to being prepared for something, it takes me back to the way you were brought up. As me, Phina, you see, he speaks to himself and speaks to other people and minds about what he speaks to other people. Most of the people come into music with different agendas, and you want refuse someone to be with an agenda, but then there has to be rules and regulations. If a nation doesn't have rules and regulations, then we are all going to come up as nuisance. So as the center, we're looking forward to having a limit, to having people who talk to these artists. And most of the time, some do it because they don't have people to talk to. You know, our industry, anyone can become a superstar in the blink of an eye. We don't have qualifications, you know. That is why we're looking forward to coming up with incubators. We have to give people career guidance so that they get to know how to manage themselves, what to put out. So it's all about, we're like the fathers, and we have to nurture the children so that we properly represent our nation and our culture.
Ironically speaking, people who put out that immoral music, their music doesn't last on the shelves.
True.
And people who put out music that reaches deep into the soul, that music is timeless music. And I know that the religious music is timeless music, especially the one that, let me tell you, one of the things about Namugongo is the sound of music. There's an aura and an environment it creates around it, but it shouldn't be just for that day, but should it? How can people actually carry that transformation onto their daily lives through music?
One, they should be meditative.
Yeah.
They should meditate on what takes them to Namugongo. It's not about coming to Namugongo to pray and go. It's not about going there, hearing the choir sing very well and they go. They should be meditative. Let them pick lessons on what they've seen in Namugongo. Technology is changing a lot of things these days. If you see things how they were done 10 years ago, it's not the way they are done these days. If now, let me talk about the Catholic Church. Music is diverse. It's diverse. You cannot stop anyone to. She was talking about limiting or regulating musicians, but in the Catholic Church you cannot limit someone unless what they've done is against the what? The church. So what we need to do is to carry on that music to our real backgrounds down. If you've come to Namugongo, if you've enjoyed a song, go back to your village and teach it to the people in the village. Okay? Wow. If you've seen something very enjoyable, go back to the people, all the people you stay with, because for me, if I'm at home, I can create a choir at home, we can do the singing at home. And that singing is getting initiated into the kids. They are going to come up when they are having that religious background. Instead of, if you try to see these days, people, many of the people who go to Namugongo, I can even say a third of the people do not go to pray. They go there to make money. They go there to do other, can I say, unscrupulous things? The people who go to pray are the ones who are focused. So let us take that singing back to the people who we have at home, the people who are who we stay with. These things of singing shouldn't just be going there, you entertain people. The choir was really nice.
These days it has become entertainment. Herbert, some green, blue, yellow lights, some smoke here. And
Not really. But you know, you have to go with, first of all, you have to go with a trend.
Oh, Herbert, but let's talk about this seriously. What's your opinion on all these other complementaries that have been put to a song or to music? Doesn't it take away from the message in the song? Because if I'm confused by all the lights and the smoke, what are the chances that that song is going to sit in Miriade?
The lights and smoke, that is really entertainment. Let them take that kind of things to the National Theatre for people to enjoy. But if someone has come to pray, let that song that is being performed touch the depth of the what? The soul. Let it not be just an entertainment and you dance to the song and at the end of the day you go back when you've not gotten anything.
Coopy Bly is laughing about it because he has a personal experience.
This brings us back to family. You see how this man is presenting himself? It was started by family.
True.
So it takes us back. We, the parents, we have to nurture our children away from home. Otherwise, if you don't nurture your child, the world will nurture him for you.
But Phina, how do we do that in light of today, whereby parent is competing with technology and the workplace? So parent is not home. Parent is parenting child over a gadget. How do you do that?
That is what they call the terms and conditions.
Because now we have YouTube in which they can scroll and hear all manner of music.
That is, I'm telling you again, it is what is called terms and conditions applying. If you have decided to become a parent, you have to become one. Divide yourself, have time for everything. You have your children, don't expect someone else to nurture your children. It's you. They are yours. Now, for example, me, I was brought up in a Catholic church, and I was always told you have to go to church. I used to be part of those organizations, the Blue Armies, the Scouts. That is why you see me here, and you're proud of me. So it is all about the parent. Before you cry out to the government that, please, our children, digital era, it is you. Charity begins at home.
Okay. Yes,
I would just like to add to that from a personal experience. When I started my music, I did it underground because I was coming from a very humble family, and of course back then parents were not very supportive of music, and you're not going to these very competitive schools where if you don't get the grades you are cut the next term, and so I had to hide my music because I knew my parents would say that's the reason why you're not getting perfect marks and all that. But one shocking factor for my parents was that when they realized that I was doing music almost 4 years after, they were shocked that I was doing. They were very proud that I was doing Christian music. Because then they realized it was not, I wasn't doing it because they had told me to. So they were very proud that I did it out of my own decision. And I decided to do, yet I could have, the kind of circles I was with, I could have done secular music. But the issue was, like Phina has said, when in Uganda there is that saying, when you raise up a kid in a certain kind of conduct, however much these distractions, we can never prevent them. And I need to put it out there. But you do your best. You do your best when you are at home, raise your kid according to the principles, to the faith, to the belief that you want them to be raised up. And when they get out in the world, which they are definitely bound to, there will come a time where their inner person will be competing with the world. And you pray that at that time, that inner voice will outshine the world. And because, I mean, it's a very threatening, I have 3 kids now, and like you said, you know, with YouTubes and what, you can try and, you know, filter stuff that they watch, put parental guidance and stuff like that. Still,
advert.
When they go out there somewhere, she may use another person's gadget that probably their parents are not that strict on, you know. So it's how much you pour out. And I also believe, like, my last album, Action Talk, kids and children and most people learn more by watching what you do than what you tell them. Yeah. And so if the kind of values you want to train your kids, please live those values yourself. So when they watch you, they will probably learn more than you telling them, oh, don't do this, you don't have to do this. Yeah. Let's
talk about the lights and the smoke. Is it entertainment or why it adds to the moyo?
Now, me, I'm going to kind of not disagree very much, but have a slight wider opinion. One of my biggest artists that I grew up listening to made a statement you might know, Papa San, and he said when Jesus called us to be fishers of men, he didn't give us one particular net.
True.
So the issue is the fishing. What type of net you use might be different. My query is that while we try and bring, I'm not totally against the lights and the smoke and the good screens. I just pray they don't override the cause, which is the music. Because when somebody puts much more focus on the lights and the screens, and then the voices and the music is not as good as the lights and the screens, then probably you have lost it. But I don't think it's really, really that wrong if the lights are just nyongereza. They are just some little additions to it. As long as they don't override the essence of the message, and this is where it comes to. The music is about the message, and like you have said, the music itself. If probably I prayed it never happened. One day we go to Namugongo, and the people singing, you can't even hear their voices that much because the smoke is all covering them and the lights, and the sound is the instrumentation is too louder than the music itself, then that's where you are going off. But if it's just an accompaniment of what the real music is bringing out there, I don't think it's really that.
So I think from his submission is about how you react to this. I think his submission is protective of the guys who are doing the immoral music. True. But yes, Herbert.
Yeah, I'm going to add on what he's saying. Yeah. Every religion has its doctrines and way of doing things. Now in the Catholic Church, if you bring balloons, if you bring lights, if you bring what, it's kind of distracting the what?
The message.
The message. However, we have to fish.
Evolution is also
We have to fish people. We have to fish souls.
The young generation.
The young generation. How are you going to do it? If you remember, in the Catholic Church, we used to only have chants, the drums, hymns only. But now we are having
percussions.
But now we are having a generation of totally young people. How are you going to bring them to church? Are you going to sing Kyrie every time? They won't come. You have to bring in a Gloria that is making them dance, that is getting them closer to what? And in a language that they can understand. Let us not be strict to the religion, but let us make ways of bringing them back to what? To God. And good enough, there is what they call the Vatican Council that made us, that made us do things freely, to worship freely, use our kind of languages that people understand, the instrumentation, as long as they do not divert from the message and the kind of prayer.
Okay, so currently, after Phina reacts, I would like you, Herbert, to speak into how is the Catholic religion, for example, adopting to the new age after Phina. Yes, Phina.
It was like what I was going to talk about. When you're doing anything, even if you're an entrepreneur, you should look at, you should do market research. What is the trend? If you want the young generation to come to church, they are no longer doing there is a session for that. So bringing the percussion, if you don't accept change, change can change you. Other young people have been are going into other fake religions, are going to other worshipping whatever they like, because these ancient religions had not looked at the trends. So right now, if the young generation likes to look at the lights, and it's what they will bring them, they have put the lights. According to research, there is a way the children's hymns have been transformed now into some hip hop, some techno, so that they can move with the trend. So don't expect a young kid. You know, we have the alpha generation. These are Santons. They can do what we can't do. So we have to study them and get to know what they like. And so I just like the transformation in the presentation of the church, in the music in the church. So we like it. You can see the way he plays his music. It brings back the soul to normality. So I just like the change, because we have to follow the trend if we need our people back to church. And I'm very happy right now, when it comes to church service, people are back to church.
Okay, all right. Herbert, yes, in response to evolution, and then, for example, also draw us what that evolution has looked like through the choirs that you have worked with at Namugongo.
Yeah, let me go back a little to what you asked. You asked, how has the church made these younger people get back to church? Most of us know Father Musala. I think he's a little old, but his target generation, I mean his target audience, is the young. You see him dancing in a cast of these things they put on, is to attract the world, but he does not divert from the principles of the church. So you asked about how things have evolved through the years. Now, let's begin with numbers. If I can say, the first time I directed a choir in Namugongo, I think it was 2009. 2009, I think I was in my first year. The numbers were a little low. But now you can find a big audience, all congregation of more than 2 million plus. You understand? Now, how are you going to capture that audience with a group? Because I remember, I think that time we had only 100. But now, to capture that that congregation, you have to have a very big choir, of more than 400, 500 people, 500 people, to see that you have that mass kind of output. So things have evolved. The other times we used to have a few songs, but now we are having a bigger, wide repertoire of songs, such that people can feel the day. And now they are diversifying. You might find that Nebi is going to be singing Luganda. You find them singing. Yeah, we did an interaction with them, and they were struggling with some words in a Luganda song that they needed. So what they are doing is to cater to everyone who has come from far and wide, such that they can also pray. That has been done with the years, but the years before, if it is Runyankore, you find that they are singing Runyankore through. If it is Latin, you find that it's Latin through. But now you have to cater to someone. If I've come from Karamoja, I want to hear my language, I want to hear my culture. And if you hear them sing that song, you hear that culture.
Yeah,
getting excited. And they feel that the Catholic Church all praying is one. So the other thing is, you've seen screens all around Namugongo. People struggle to go and see the priests, but now they've tried to diversify, and even if you're at home now, even the TV stations, you just sit at home and you pray more than someone who is even there. And the place is a little developed. I think the government has done some good work there. People sit without squeezing. The laws are very okay. And I think even the security is okay.
Gets better by
but the years before there was a lot of congestion. If you're entering Namugongo, it was like you were entering heaven. You push yourselves.
Sometimes you would reach when you're up. They just broke you.
But now these days it has gone a little low. And even the sound, they've tried to get professional people who are good at church sound.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who are good at doing stadiums, doing what, but doing church sound is something very crucial. You have to get someone who is professional in that field, such that everyone, if you've been in Mugongo, even people in Chaliwajara can hear very well. Yeah, that is how things have been evolving with time.
Okay, speaking of evolution, there's also been evolution in something that all three of you are agreeing to, the upbringing of a child. That evolution is towards the negative. Divorce rate in Uganda is increasing day by day, meaning that so many children are now being raised by a single parent, which is very hard to really raise a child as a single parent. So that also speaks into the kind of musicians that we see coming up and what their focus is on when they're doing their music. But Phina mentioned something about incubators and career guidance. And I know that Coopy Bly, you are one that has been opportuned in that direction. And talk to us about that, what those were and what impact it has had on your music career.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to also just put this out there. You can't give what you don't have. And like Phina mentioned earlier, unfortunately, our the kind of industry we're in is a self-made kind of industry. You learn on the job. Sometimes you even spend years in the job and you end up leaving, yet you didn't learn anything. So some people, we used to say it's I'm failing to find the English word, kuswama. It's a fluke kind of industry. If you end up coming and singing a song that day, and you are putting on blue shoes, and for some reason, everybody that day is loving blue shoes. My friend, you are never taking off your blue shoes because now your blue shoes are what are selling you. And unfortunately, that's how the industry is run. Right. What I want to emphasize is once people know, I've done this in some of the lessons I've carried out, and it has been also encouraged in me by the lessons I've attended. Once people know how heavy the mantle of music, how deep music goes, and the repercussions of the music that you're doing, then you will be very more cautious at what you put out there. We are living in a kind of world that that says the end justifies the means. One of our biggest target is money.
Twagala se.
Oba zize zitya. Ekikulu nti sente zatuuse. And unfortunately, that's how the industry is run. But like I said, because of the way I was brought up, and because I had an opportunity to know how deep the music goes and the repercussions of music. Me as a Christian, I was taught I will be held accountable for every soul I either lead to God or lead away from God. So I'm very careful when I'm doing music. There's some kind of music you want to do and you want to put this lyric, or because this is selling, or but you realize, how am I going to account for that? So when people realize the repercussions of the music that they are doing, the lyrics, I personally I don't have very much challenges with the beats, because I believe a beat cannot lead somebody to hell, or a beat cannot lead somebody to immorality. My biggest challenge, my biggest fight and prayer is for people to realize that the lyrics you put out there, it's most of, like, a song is 99%, if it's to do damage, 99% is going to come from the lyrics.
I'll be honest with you. There's some songs that, because I'm a beat person, so give me the beat, then I listen to a word that just
and you feel like now I've spoiled it, you know. So unfortunately, that's the way the world is going. And one thing I want to thank the church is that the church has grown to a level where they are realizing, okay, beats are not, back then when we were starting music, I personally, there is type of music that we were attracted to as youth, the very groovy kind of beats. Those kind of beats were not accepted in church. Okay. So they did even want to listen to what you are singing on the beat, as long as they had the beat there. But now they are realizing the beat has no problem. It's the lyrics. So when you realize, now it goes back to the hooking, the fishing kind of method. You realize, well, the beats have no problem. So let's use the beats that people like. But now, on the beats that the people like, let us put the message that we want. So even when somebody
Phina, you can see the people you need to bring into the...
You see the power with that? Even when somebody doesn't want to listen to the kind of message you are putting out there, like I said, and I know this for a fact because people have said the kind of music I do, no touching.
Okay.
Nobody wants to listen to that, no touching music. Everybody wants to touch. But even when they don't want to listen to it, the beat hooks them in. By the time they want to turn off the song,
all right,
brings us back,
as we bring this conversation
brings us back to the point of every musician going into music with a reason. You have your reason, and it's very good. Everyone has a dream. There is a musician who goes into a market and says, there is someone who goes into the market nagamba, I'm accountable to the souls, either I spoiled or I led to heaven. So everyone is into this business with a reason. Okay. But then, what is your reason? Where is it taking you? Reason.
The Culture Center should be guiding the reason. As we close this conversation, let me start with Herbert. How do we protect religious music in light of all this mayhem that is happening around the musical industry?
One, we should stick to the doctrines. We should stick to the doctrines. Each religion has their doctrines. However, even if we are on the doctrines, let's not forget the youth. Let's devise means of having the youths. Let's utilize the Sunday schools, let's utilize the seminars, let's utilize the schools themselves, because what I know, most of the times, kids spend time in schools. So through the schooling, let's utilize music and have that music imparted in the students and the kids. Us as parents, let's get time and teach our kids morals. Morals, the character and everything. We can have good kids in the future. If a kid is good, you can see that they are good. If they're not good,
that's very true. Yes. All right, Phina, with the burden that you have, especially as a national culture center, what's your commitment towards ensuring that there's positive social development through music?
As we have a strategic plan for not only music but for the whole sector. Just that the music domain is very, very bright, vibrant for this moment. So as I have informed you, we can't say, because right now when it comes to the trends, you've heard him the way he said twagala sente. So we're appealing to the artists. Let us be. Let us have a long-term thing that will help our children, the other upcoming artists, so that they don't struggle in this situation. So we're looking forward to planning, coming up with infrastructures, those incubators. Me, if you give me knowledge, even if you don't give me money, you see how this man was given knowledge. He knows what to do. So the center is all about preparing, nurturing the artists for the future generation. Me, I'm not going to be this Phina for some more years, but I need to create another Phina who's going to be productive and very important to the national issues of the creative sector. So as the UNCC, we are looking forward to coming up with different initiatives that nurture both the sector and the stakeholders.
All right, this leaves you, Coopy Bly, with two questions. One, how are you nurturing those that are coming after you in order to, be as morally upright in dispensation of your gifting? And then two, as in regards to your, latest album, the Action album, what's your call to action to really the music sector and its players?
Well, one thing I realized is it is harder to teach people by telling them what to do, yet it is easier to teach by showing So, you know, I run a label called Backyard, and one of our biggest objectives is to lead by example. How our label works is we have a group of artists that we work with, and we don't sit down and lecture them. We just let them around us. They learn from us, they see how we do things, and we believe through that they are learning so much more. The other thing is, you know, the Gospel Federation has come up with ideas of putting up like seminars. I want to say a big thank you to the former Bishop Luele. He used to have these seminars where he would take artists out like for two days or 3 days, just in some good location, and you are learning, and it's just teaching some of these things. And again, like I said, once you learn something, you can never unlearn it.
Okay.
And so we just hope the government either encourages that, or other people take it on. And yeah, we can't give what we don't have.
I have one more.
Closing
one
the conversation.
One request
we have closed the conversation. You'll give him the request in person. This brings us to the end of this discussion, but I trust that my panelists have done good justice in answering the questions that we had in the beginning. For now, we take a short breather. We return with Stephen B. Day on ground.